guys? Welcome to Coaching with Chris. I got to tell you, I am pumped up. I have Kyle Draper today, and this guy has just always been giving me something. I'm like, oh, I never thought of that. Oh, wait. Let me write that down. And so, I think that if you're a loan officer in today's market, how good are you at social? And that's what we're going to be talking about, because I think that we're thinking about reaching this huge audience, and it's not about that. It's like, how well are you connecting with the audience that already knows you? So, Kyle, what's happening?
What is up, Chris? I'm so honored to be here with you, man.
You know, I got to say, before we even go any further, tell me about this book, and the inspiration of how you even started this book, because I feel like you're changing loan officers' lives right in front of them. They don't even notice it. And this book, I've talked to a group of owners yesterday, and I'm like, if you're not using this book to recruit, if you're not using this book to cover a chapter with your loan officers, how many chapters are in here? Do you know?
37.
There's 37 weeks of content for your loan officers right here. You take a chapter a week, cover it with your loan officers. You got 37 of things to talk about as a theme, or 37 realtor topics to talk to your realtors about every single week, and you don't have to do a thing but master the chapter.
That's right.
So tell me, inspiration number one around the design of this book first.
Well, the biggest thing for me, I think, is there's such a good life lesson in this, is that if we all understood our skill sets and kind of our roles on the team, I've known for a long time that I'm probably never going to be the most talented person in the room. But if I can be the glue that can bring the most talented people into the room, then I'm going to make every room that I'm in better. And that was, Brian View and I's, that was our goal with this book is, look, man, you and I don't have anything to write to this industry about in terms of this, but I bet there's 37 men and women out there that could each write their own book that never will. And let's compile them together, have our Avengers group, which is really what we consider you guys. And let's put the playbook out there for any loan officer to go and be successful. And it was fitting that chapter 1 was only going to be able to be reserved for yours truly. And it's unbelievable.
We should just do a little fun little challenge. If you comment and tell me the color of M&M that I was talking about, I'm going to send you some cool stuff. I'll send you some cool Windsor garb, and just tell me what was the piece about the M&M, or what was your biggest takeaway from the chapter. So either tell me about the M&M or tell me about the biggest takeaway, because I feel like I've read, and I know a lot of these amazing people that have wrote into this 37. Oh my gosh, Michelle Castle and I, we grew up together.
What?
Yeah.
No way. I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. We coached together forever. And then I even remember one time she's like, no. I want to make sure it's Chris and I together. We get coached together. And I was like, oh.
She's writing a book in the Rethink Everything series with me coming up.
She's an amazing human, and I've had her speak to my loan officers years and years. She is amazing. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I know this person. And then I read their chapter, and I'm like, dead on. So look, I love your inspiration around this book. I loved your first book, but this is a totally different book, totally different done way.
Yeah.
And I know we're going to talk about a lot of social. And by the way, if you guys got comments, put comments on there, because Kyle and I love answering questions.
We do.
Important for us. And if you haven't got this book, then I'll shut up about it. But
but here's what we know. We know by our numbers, we're at around 1,500 books sold so far. And so we're representing a little over 1% of the LOs that we have in our industry. So we know that as saturated as we think it is already, we are just scratching the surface of who has actually heard about it and then who's actually read it. So I think we need to keep shouting it from the rooftops. People need this book.
Yeah, people need this book. Like I bought every one of my loan officers this book. I told my AEs start giving these books away. That someone will actually read it. Like putting it on your bookshelf won't do you any good.
Right.
Having it in your background won't do you any good. Reading that dang book, just one chapter. Just one chapter. I heard a story the other day that someone said, I thought I was going to breeze through that book and I got a good old lesson. Like it's a highlighter book.
It is meaty. It's a meaty book. And the other cool thing, and this plays into social media, all of your LOs, they live in a city where they know people that are other small business owners, they're in sales, they're in marketing. And so this book, man, 80% of this book applies to any industry. Right? Like there's a couple chapters that are going to be super, super mortgage centric, but for most of them, their people need to know about this book. And more importantly, their people need to hear them coach from the book because it's so applicable to people. And so, Rick, where can you get it? You can get it on Amazon. If you will just simply go search Rethink Everything, you'll see the green book, you'll see the purple book underneath it. And so go grab you 1 or 100 copies and you'll thank us later.
You will. I mean, even Major Singleton, I love the way he started out. So there I was sitting in my office in Honolulu on the Pearl Harbor Naval Base. Like, you're going to get amazing stories, but then every single chapter is going to be able to give you tactics of what to go do. And his chapter is the power of education. Like, you're going to get tactics to go improve your business. And like, yes, we're shouting this book out, but also we're shouting out like these next 10 years are going to be mortgage forward activity. Right. And I am finding out that many of the loan officers, maybe that's you listening today, you're not in shape. You're not ready. You're not good at social. You're not good at calling your database. You're not good at calling realtors. We're out of practice. We don't practice. We think we can wing it. Yep. And I've learned my lesson. You can't wing social media. And I know we're going to talk about that today, but like this book's going to help you so you don't have to wing it.
100%. And you know better than me. You've been in this industry a lot longer than I have. If we parade your top LOs, the top LOs from around the country, like none of them are doing something special that we go, oh my gosh, I've never thought about that. That's brilliant. Most of them are going to say things that we're like, okay, like I get it. We need to be calling our database. We need to be, and so it's not sexy to be successful in this industry. And everybody knows what they need to be doing. It's just a matter of creating that discipline and just that commitment to do what you say you're going to do. And man, you could flip to any page in that book and the practicality, yet the intentionality is there for you to apply it and be better. It's impossible for it not to work if you commit to actually taking the action.
Yeah, I think 3 things that really surprised me throughout my career. Number 1, I made it too hard. Number 2, be a good Xerox copy machine. Right? And number 3, go implement what I said I would go do. And if you would do those 3 things, it'd change your life. Totally. So true. So let's talk about a little bit about social media. Like one of the things I love about coaching for Chris is that we always have this, what are we going to talk about? What are we going to do? And I'm like, hey, I want this organic. Right. I want this to be a conversation. Like we're sitting around in a fireside chat and we're hanging out and we're talking mortgage talk and we're helping the community get better. And I know you've made a big impact in the community, but as we get into this meet, what's one thing, Kyle, that no one knows about you that they would be surprised about?
Oh gosh, no one knows about me that they would be surprised about. When I was in 8th grade, I got to be a ball boy for the Dallas Mavericks.
What?
And so I spent that entire basketball season as a ball boy. And so, right, those are the kids under the basket that wipe the sweat up off the floor, and we put flyers in the arena. And so, I got to rebound for Shaquille O'Neal and wipe Michael Jordan's sweat off the floor. And I got to be under Reunion Arena, which is the old arena in Dallas where Dennis Rodman walked past me in a dress. That was back in his cross-dressing days. And so, gosh, what an incredible experience as just a diehard sports fan. And obviously that's not in my resume and that's not in my bio, but there's some pretty cool stories from that 8th grade year.
That might be a book.
Maybe so. I don't know if anybody would read it, but I could definitely make it a book.
You could. I'd read it. A lot's been happening with you. You've been speaking a ton. You got a lot of speaking engagements coming up. It seems like you have a real passion to be able to get out there and communicate to originators and realtors across the country about various topics. Where are you speaking at? Like, what's some big ones coming up that you're super excited about? And what's your message today?
Well, let me first let me tell people what my message is for my life. I am so heartbroken when I feel like somebody doesn't believe they have a story to tell. And when somebody doesn't believe that they have an impact to be had, that they have influence over people. And so, my favorite thing on the planet is helping people see their superpower so that they can go and change the world. And it's what I love. And I did it when I was a pastor. And now I feel like I'm doing the same thing. I just get to call it something different, and we get to mask it with, I'm a social media coach and I'm a video marketing therapist. But at the end of the day, it is my job to empower people to live out their story, because there's men and women, Chris, all across this planet that you and I will never get to meet. We'll never get to come in contact with, but someone we know might. And so that's the message that I'm always pushing. And so, this month, I'm doing a big event in Denver and next Friday for a bunch of realtors. And then a few days after that, I'm speaking at it's an AIM sponsored event for BAC in Washington, DC. And so I get to go encourage all those men and women. And then right after that, then I'm in Phoenix speaking at the Gathering for Housing Wire. And man, it's 3 more opportunities to just love and serve people. And it's my absolute favorite thing to do. And so, with all of that, the goal for today is, can we wow people? Sure. But is that practical and helpful? No, it's not. And so, today I hope to just give people 3 very intentional things that they could get off this call, begin to implement on social media immediately, and start to see the needle begin to move in their favor.
Yeah. It's like you're helping us unleash our superpower. And I feel like for many, that's a hard question to ask yourself. What is my superpower in this career? And 2 is that, how do I do it and not seem like I'm in a bragging way? I think we worry like, oh my gosh, I'm bragging, or oh my gosh, what would someone else think? And then that paralyzes us almost.
Yeah.
Both my kids, I have to say, both Shelby and Clay both reached out to you, and I feel like you made a huge impact into their life. And they came back and they go, Kyle made me think about this differently. And I think Clay was, if I came to town and asked you to go to eat, would you worry about your appearance? No, you'd go to eat with me.
That's right.
But yeah, if you go on social media, we worry everything about that.
Absolutely.
And it was a big eye opener for him.
Wow.
And Shelby, her thought process is overthink.
Yeah.
And overthink means do nothing. And
yes,
I think as an industry, we struggle, Kyle, with this whole superpower thing.
100%.
Story.
And let me just say, I loved getting to spend time with both your kids. They're incredible. And I hope to get to hang out with them more. But I think, Chris, like, our industry has lost touch with the actual impact that LOs are having on generational wealth for people. You know, you've got LOs that have closed thousands of transactions in their careers, and probably in the first 10 or 20, they were truly like, we're making a difference, man. Like, that family was broke, and we're establishing an entirely new way of living for the future of their family. But then over time, like, that's transaction 39 and transaction 84 and transaction 214. And so if we can just tap back into, like, there is no other country on the planet that allows the average person to have generational wealth opportunities, to have wealth transfers like we have in America. And the people watching this video, you are on the front lines of getting to make that change possible. And so the next time you're struggling with a file and you're frustrated that the credit score isn't exactly what you want it to be, just remember that, like, somewhere someone probably already told them no, and that you're reigniting the dream that they had. And we can use social media now to tell these stories, to educate the consumer, and watch people's lives continue to change. And so it's my goal, you know, to be top of mind, to tell Clay, bro, if we're going to dinner, you're going to dinner. You're not going to go, well, can tomorrow night be better because this pimple's almost gone from my face? And, like, I'll just feel more confident tomorrow night without that whitehead there. No, we're going to go to dinner because he knows I don't give a crap about some pimple on his face.
That's right.
And so when we truly realize that the same Kyle that doesn't care at dinner is the same Kyle that's going to watch him in his video, it just truly changes the mindset that we bring to social media, because now we've made it less about ourselves and more about helping others.
Yeah. I'll never forget FSVN, which is forgettable, selfish, valuable, and non-existent. And you have them, of course, all named. And I just thought, man, how brilliant is that? And am I that? Am I doing that?
Yeah.
And you know what hit me, Kyle?
What?
Was we just got done with Easter, and my nephew's over, and he's graduated from college. He's been saving money, and he says after dinner, we're all having a glass of wine, and he says, saving money for my down payment to buy a house. Now there's 3 of us that do mortgage at the table. And I says, really? And he says, yep. Once I get that 25% saved, 25% saved, I'm going to do it. And I go, why would you wait? He goes, because Chris, I thought that's what I need for a down payment. My own nephew, by the way. And maybe I shouldn't have been as hard on myself after that night. I'm like, man, but what? I can't even tell this. Here's what we think. We think they know.
Right.
And they don't. And using your tools solves that problem.
Yeah.
But I didn't use that tool, right? No, they don't go to school and say, these are your 3 choices to be able to buy your first house. No one gets educated on this. It's our job to educate, and it's our job to use social media throughout our sphere to educate, to answer these questions so that they'll have an opportunity. Maybe they'll use you, maybe they wouldn't. But you made the community better. So walk us through these 3 tactics that you want to talk to us.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that story. I think, sadly, if that lack of knowledge exists from the nephew of a CEO of a mortgage company,
I'm embarrassed to tell everybody this, by the
how
way.
much larger is that gap for just the average American? that doesn't know mortgage people, right? So it's such a powerful story, and I'm glad your nephew got straightened out and understands. Holy cow! I could shorten that purchasing gap by years if I don't have to get all the way to 25%. So that's huge. And I think before I get into these three things, can I quickly, Chris, just touch on we can show up every day with abundance or scarcity.
Yes.
And if we're not careful in sales, a lot of the sales tactics we're taught are based in scarcity. And so, like, I can't share my tricks. I can't, give this away. I got to wait until I know that I'm going to get their business before I really start helping them navigate the waters.
Yeah.
And we wake up every day believing that we live in this world where there is not enough for everybody. And so I've got to go protect what's mine, close myself off, and then miss opportunities to educate like your nephew. Or we can operate in abundance, which says, man, I don't even see competition because I want you to win too. I don't want to win if it means you have to lose. I believe that there's enough opportunity for all of us to win. And so now my goal is, how much can I give away today to just help people without knowing if there's a string attached that's always going to come back to me, but just believing that in the overflow of abundance, what I reap, I will also sow.
Yeah.
And so I think that's just a powerful way to look at social media, is a place to go reap and sow in abundance and not get caught up in, but what's in this for me? And did I get enough views? Right? All those things. So the first thing, and these are in no particular order, but the first thing is people need to be regurgitating what they're learning. So the talk that you had with leaders in our industry yesterday about, guys, why are you not using this green book to educate people? You don't need to go reinvent the wheel. We literally just wrote the book now on all things training for a lender. Like, you don't need to go have your own thing because now it's all about you and you can control it. Go serve through what you're learning, because you know this, Chris, that good leaders were either always reading something or listening to something or watching something with the desire to grow. But 90% of our country, which are most of the home buyers in our country, they just have jobs that don't require them to be better. So personal development isn't as big across our country as it is inside of our industry. But again, we assume people know, or we assume people are like us. And so if you would take the book you're reading, I hope it's the green book or the purple book, but it could be any book. In the moment something jumps off the page at you, if you would just jump on social and you could jump on video and go, guys, y'all check this out. I just read this today and man, it blew my mind. I want to share it with y'all. And then y'all give me your opinion in the comments. What does this mean to you? And then you literally show the book, like you're not trying to pretend like you've made all this up. Read the quote, turn it around, and then just deliver it into the camera. Nobody goes, but Chris, that's stupid. That's not your book.
No.
That's a Tony Robbins book, man. Why are you reading me a quote from Tony Robbins? They're going to think you made the quote up, because we give we give the accolades to the messenger, not typically the creator. And so if this is all we did, even just this morning, I put up a post on social. I grab a quote, make a graphic in Canva, and put it on social media. And then tell the story. Guys, I got to be honest. I woke up this morning feeling really discouraged. But I went into the Bible app. I read the verse for the day, and it really made an impact on my attitude. And so I don't know if any of you are having a bad attitude on this Tuesday, but if you are, I wanted you to get to read the same quote that helped me today. Dude, now, like, we're leading people.
That's right.
And we're creating influence, and influence creates opportunity. We don't always know when.
Influence creates activity.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Great quote.
And so this is why when your LOs say, I just don't like, you're so good at video. You always know what to talk about. I just never know what to talk about. My question to them is, when's the last time you read something? When's the last time you listened to a podcast? When's the last time you watched a YouTube video? And Chris, a lot of the time they go, man, I've actually been kind of slacking. I don't know that I've even picked up a book since the year started. And if we're not using our brains, they don't sit dormant, they go backwards.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're not just choosing not to creatively think, we're losing the ability to creatively think when we're not forcing ourselves into those situations. And so that's why I have tons of books in my background, because when I'm struggling to come up with something to say online or to write an email, write anything, I'll look around and go, okay, what's a book that I've got close to me that I can just grab and thumb through, and I'll go find an underlined sentence and go, all right, cool. This is better than nothing. Is this going to be my best video ever? Probably not. Is it going to go viral? Most definitely not. But is it giving me an opportunity that is greater than if I chose to do nothing?
Mm-hmm.
And the answer is always yes.
Yeah.
And that's why with Shelby, I think I even told her this, right? That my done video is better than the one you'll never do every time.
That's right.
Every time. And so this is just such an easy opportunity for us to show up and win online when we simply regurgitate what we're learning.
Yeah. Great point. Great point. Great point. Yep. Number two
is mix business and personal.
What do you think the ratio is?
I don't think there should be one. And I also I think we've like you said early on, you said the first thing that you did wrong early in your career is you made it too hard. I think the question you just asked is what we all ask, and that question makes it too hard. I think the reality is like your people know that you're the CEO of a mortgage company. And so whether you're showing up drinking wine on your back porch or taking a selfie from the golf course, like you're never not Windsor.
Mm-hmm.
And so I really just don't think it matters. But what I really want to encourage people with is instead of looking at it as it's the 80-20 rule, right? Which is what Gary Vee has taught everybody. It's jab, 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 right hook. I want people to think about, what if we were mixing business and personal in a different way? And I've been encouraging your team to get you to do this better. And it is this. I want to see Chris Vinson not just educating from his office, because that's a business environment. So like just your camera right now, my camera right now, these are salesy camera angles. We're in our place of work.
Yeah.
And even though you and I aren't salesy people, no one would define us as that. It still feels that way because of the environment we're in. And so what I would love is I want to see a minute of inspiration, a minute of mortgage teaching from you on your back porch with the fire pit behind you holding a glass of wine. Because now we truly are creating that fireside moment that you and I want this to be, but it will never be because we're both sitting in our offices.
Yep.
But if we were to do an evening time coaching with Chris and I'm on my back porch and you're on yours, don't you think that kind of hits people different? The words can literally be the same.
Yeah.
But it would hit people different because of the environment we're in. And so for your LOs that have kids, I'd love to see a mortgage minute video from the front seat of the car, sitting in the carpool lane. I'd love to see a mortgage minute from the golf course because you just got a text from a client. And instead of waiting till tomorrow to be dressed to the nines and do the video from your office, you're driving from the tee box to the second shot and you just jump on, and it's windy and it's bumpy, but it's real life. And so I think this is where we're missing it when we talk about business and personal, not only business posts versus only personal posts, but how do we combine them so that my background can tell a story while my mouth is talking about something different?
Yeah. We need to come up with a word that takes that business and personal and puts it into one word. That's cool.
One.
That is great. What is
I
it?
have a word. I'm not sold on it. It's why I don't use it very often. But I called it raw professional.
Raw professional. I'll write it down.
So it's you're never not professional because we're all experts at what we do for a living, right? You could ask me for a social media tip from any environment on the planet, and I'm going to do it well. And I can do the same with you for mortgage. But our backgrounds can be a little bit more raw in the way that they feel.
Yeah.
And it softens what we're saying, and it makes it truly feel like my friend Kyle is talking, not just some expert that I think might kind of want something from me. So raw professional. Everybody watching, if you can think of something better, we'll give you credit and we will coin that phrase. But that's all I've come up with so far.
All right. Well, let's see what everybody says. Maybe we'll come up with something that's not bad. I don't know why you don't like it. I mean, I think it's pretty good.
Well, and maybe it is better. Sometimes you say a word over and over again, and you're like, that doesn't even sound like a word anymore.
Mm-hmm.
There's actually a phrase for that. I don't remember what it's called, but maybe I've just seen it so much it's run its course with me.
I say so many words wrong here that the staff writes them down. And
I love it.
One year they had a game show. Guess what Chris is really saying? And they had contestants and everything, and they had points for it. That's when you might need to slow down a titch to say things a little bit more accurate.
I don't know, but if you got more accurate, they wouldn't have a game show anymore.
Well, hey, I'm hoping this year at the Christmas party, they'll have a bunch of them. We can actually play this game show. Well, maybe I'll have you come be the announcer.
Please let me be the host of that game show. I would love it.
So tip number 3.
Tip number 3 is daily video, but not the way you think. It is more in the realm of 1-to-1 video. Because let me tell everybody a story. If Chris, if you're my LO and you and I go way back, we've been buddies since college. My wife doesn't really know you other than what I've told her about you. So she by default trusts you. But the reality is all throughout this transaction, you and I are going to mostly communicate. Okay. So LOs, think about, you think you're doing a good job because you've called me on your way home from the office. You update me on where we're at in the process of buying our home. And then I get home and I say, honey, guess what? Chris called. To which she says, well, what did Chris say? Mm-hmm. And I go, he said, we're good. Well, what else did he say? Honey, I don't know what else he said like that. He let us know we're good. Like we've moved to the next stage. Well, how long were you and Chris on the phone? I don't know, 15, 20 minutes. Right. So you feel like the interrogation picking up.
Oh, yeah.
In 15 minutes, all he said was we're good. Well, no, we talked about more. Well, what did you talk about? And so think about, guys, for those of you watching that'll watch the replay later, like you are messing up royally in multiple places. One, you're instigating World War III in all of your clients' homes when you expect someone who's not you to fully be able to explain what you just told them to their spouse.
Yeah. It's
horrible, but it's the way we've always done it. And we've actually celebrated people like, oh, you didn't send an email, you actually called? Wow. And that's incredible, right? Like, way to go. We're going to give you an award at the Christmas party. But it's leaving half of your referral opportunities on the table.
Right.
Because, Chris, we're going to get to closing. And after my wife's elation runs off, she's going to go, hey, how much money did Chris make on this? And I'm going to tell her. And then she's going to go, for what? What did he do? And I know that you did a ton of stuff because I'm directly related to the process. But in her mind, you didn't do anything because all I ever said is Chris said we're good. And so imagine in this one-to-one video environment, imagine, Chris, you call me because we're buddies. You're going to update me on the process. But then you hang up with me and record a 30-second video where you're like, hi, Lana. Let's be honest. Kyle's not going to tell you anything that we spoke about. And so I wanted to give you a quick update on where we're at in the process so that you have a good understanding of where we're at, where we are. I also wanted to give you my number so that if you ever want to bypass the buffoon of a husband that you have, then I'm happy to talk to you directly with any questions that you have.
So good.
And then now you send me that video. I get to go, hey, honey, guess what? Chris called. Well, what did he say? Doesn't matter what he said because he sent a video for me to play for you. And now I get to play her the video and she gets to go, that's Chris. I like him. He seems nice. I like his jacket. I like his office. There's no telling what she could ultimately relate to you on.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll get to the end of that transaction and you will now have 2 allies that want to help you grow your business versus 1.
Yeah.
And so this is, man, this is where I feel like our industry is missing it because we've equated video to social media. And so if we're anti-social media, we're also anti-video. When video is so much bigger than social media, it is the most powerful communication tool we've ever had.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like just the other day, you connected me to a really good friend of yours. That connection started by you FaceTiming me when the 2 of you were together in the car. And as simple of interaction as that was, him and I getting to see one another while you're there to interact, that created a baseline of trust that does not exist if you just send a cold email or a cold text that says, hey, Nathan, meet Kyle. You guys take it from here. And it's like, well, what? Who is this guy and why should I care about knowing him?
Right.
And so, man, this is my thing. I truly believe lenders could stop using social media altogether. And if they got bought into communicating through video on a daily basis with clients, friends, past clients, referral sources, they'd double their business, triple their business, quadruple their business.
Mm-hmm.
Because, man, this is where connection takes place. This is where trust happens. Because our brain doesn't know the difference between you and I sitting on your back porch and you and I on StreamYard right now.
Right.
My brain just goes, you're seeing Chris, you're hearing Chris, you're talking to Chris, you're hanging out with Chris. It's wild.
I will say also the hardest people to get you to call back, if you use video and make it short, the percentage of callback doubles.
Oh, easily.
Doubles. Maybe they'll video you back.
Yep.
Maybe they'll message you back and say free. Like this morning, I would call him second hardest guy to get a hold of in the mortgage business. I sent him a video. I go, I miss you. I need to connect to you. And when can we do it? And if I would have sent a text, I might not have got any response. If I would have got a call, I would have left a voicemail of which he would have checked maybe later.
Right.
Maybe.
Yep.
Maybe. But when I send a video, he says, call you in 30.
It's powerful.
It works. Guys, it works. I use
every
it
time.
I might even do something funny, right? I do funny things to you where I've done some funny stuff, but it gets their attention. They watch it and they will respond back.
Yep.
Um,
So good.
you know,
you've gotten
one of
great
my
at it.
favorite ones is
What?
this is the video. This is it. You ready?
Ready.
Hi. That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
I
They
love
can't
it.
help themselves.
Well, it hits all the senses, whether it's a 2-second video of you awkwardly saying hi, or it's a 60-second video being a little bit more heartfelt. It all hits the senses different than a phone call, than a text message, than an email. And we know that it took effort to do it, which I think is another reason why we reciprocate it well. Because I know, gosh, if Chris took the time to record a video for me, I'm not going to not respond to him.
That's right.
So but we've got to get over ourselves.
Yes.
If your first thought is, oh, my head's a little too shiny today. If my first thought is, oh, my hairline seems to be going a little bit further that way than it was a couple months ago, then we're not going to do it, because we're running everything through a filter of what's in this for me. And so we've got to remove that filter and make it completely about what's in this for them. And we'll literally be able to record a video about anything from anywhere for anyone.
Yeah. Yeah. Kyle, thank you for being on Coaching with Chris.
Absolutely.
You made an impact today. I think there's going to be loan officers that are going to listen to this. They're going to go get this good green book. They're going to be able to change the thought process in short one-on-one video and in social media. And I think, you know, the biggest takeaway, I always think about what is my biggest takeaway from anyone that I get to come in connection with. And it's raw professional, which is changing that background and also having a non-business look like feel that I've just got in this habit of.
So good.
So
I love it.
Thank you.
Thank
last
you.
words that you want to tell everybody out there listening?
Guys, just get over yourself. Everyone else is too busy thinking about themselves to be concerned with you. And so all the things that you think someone's going to think, or the negative comment somebody's going to say, none of it ever happens. And so get out of your own way and realize you can't get better at it unless you suck at first. And so let's make it happen.
Let's do it.
That's it.
Awesome. Thank you, Kyle.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
you.
Appreciate you back.